If she truly loves you, she won't always say it. Let that satisfy something in you for a moment. Because most men are out here waiting for some dramatic confession, some movie scene, some tearful moment where she grabs your face and tells you she can't live without you. And while you're waiting for that, she's already shown you 100 times. You just didn't see it. Pause. Love isn't loud. It's consistent. It's quiet. It moves through small moments that most people overlook because they're too busy chasing the obvious. And the strongest feelings a woman carries are usually the least dramatic ones. They don't come with fireworks. They come with patience. They come with presence. They come with a stillness that most men mistake for indifference. But here's what I need you to understand. When a woman loves deeply, her behavior changes long before her words do. Her nervous system shifts. Her priorities rearrange. Her attention narrows. And none of it is announced. None of it is performed. It just happens. Quietly. Naturally. Like gravity pulling something into orbit. She won't hand you a speech. She'll hand you her consistency. And if you don't know what to look for, you'll miss it entirely. That's the part that breaks my heart. Because some of you have already lost women who loved you more than anyone else ever will. And you didn't realize it until the door closed, until the silence hit, until you sat alone one night and thought, she really did care, didn't she? Yeah, she did. So in this video, I'm going to show you the quiet signs she loves you more than she admits, even if she never says it directly, even if she downplays it, even if she acts casual because vulnerability terrifies her. You'll know. After this, you'll know. Let's begin. Sign 1. She remembers the small things. This one is so subtle that most men don't even register it. She remembers your coffee order. She remembers that one story you told 3 months ago about your childhood. She remembers that Thursday is your hardest day at work. She remembers that you don't like when people chew loudly. She remembers your mother's name, your favorite meal, the song you played in the car that one night when you were both quiet and the windows were down. You never asked her to remember any of it. She just did. And here's the psychology behind it. Attention to detail is not a personality trait. It's an emotional investment. When a woman tracks your inner world like that, when she catalogs the things that matter to you, it's because you matter to her, deeply. Her brain is literally encoding you, storing you, making space for you in her memory the way you only do for things you care about protecting. Think about that. She's not memorizing your preferences because she's bored. She's doing it because her emotional system has flagged you as important, as someone worth paying attention to, as someone whose comfort she wants to contribute to. And she does it without fanfare, without saying, "Look how well I know you," without keeping score. She just quietly shows up with the thing you mentioned once. And you probably said thanks and moved on. But what she was really saying, without words, was, "I listen to you. I see you. You're not invisible to me." That's love, in its most undecorated form. Most people pay attention to what benefits them. But when a woman remembers the small, useless, random details about your life, the ones that carry no advantage, that's not strategy. That's attachment. That's her emotional world reaching toward yours. And the reason she doesn't announce it is because for her, it's natural. She doesn't realize she's doing it half the time. It's instinct. It's her nervous system syncing with yours. tracking your patterns, reading your moods, adjusting without being asked. You know what that looks like from the outside? It looks like nothing. It looks ordinary. It looks like she just happened to grab your favorite drink or happened to ask about that thing you were stressed about. But nothing about it is accidental. Every small act of memory is a quiet declaration. And if you're lucky enough to have a woman who does this, understand something clearly. She didn't memorize you because it was easy. She memorized you because her heart chose to. And that kind of love doesn't scream. It just stays. It just notices. It just shows up again and again in the details you almost forgot you shared. Don't overlook the woman who remembers what you whisper. She heard every word.
Sign 2. She worries about you quietly. There's a kind of concern that doesn't perform. It doesn't make itself known in dramatic phone calls or tearful pleas. It lives in the background, steady, watchful, almost invisible unless you know what you're looking at. She texts you after a long drive. Not a paragraph, just a simple, "Did you get home safe?" She notices when your voice drops, when you eat less, when your laugh doesn't quite reach your eyes. She asks about that headache you mentioned 2 days ago. She reminds you to drink water. She tells you to rest when she can hear the exhaustion sitting behind your words. And none of it feels heavy. None of it feels controlling. It doesn't come with conditions or guilt or emotional leverage. It just arrives, softly, like someone leaving a glass of water by your bed while you sleep. That's the kind of worry that reveals love. Because here's what most men don't understand about women. When a woman loves you, her nervous system literally begins to track yours. She becomes attuned to your emotional weather. Your stress becomes her awareness. Your pain becomes her quiet preoccupation. Not because she's anxious, not because she's codependent, but because her emotional system has bonded with yours in a way that makes your well-being feel like her own. She won't always tell you she's worried. In fact, most of the time she'll downplay it. She'll keep it casual. She'll frame it as a passing thought. But underneath that calm exterior is a woman who noticed the shift in your energy before you did. A woman who's been silently holding space for your struggle while pretending she's fine. That restraint is important, because a woman who loves you won't burden you with her concern. She'll carry it, privately. She'll check on you in ways that feel light. She won't make it about her. She won't turn your hard day into her emotional crisis. She'll simply be there, present, watchful, steady. And if you ever wonder why she asks those small questions, why she always seems to know when something is off, it's not intuition, it's investment. She's paying attention because she can't help it, because love made her your silent witness. Concern without announcement is one of the deepest forms of care a human being can offer. It asks for nothing. It expects nothing in return. It simply exists because she chose you. And choosing you means she can't unhear your silence. She worries because she loves, and she hides it because she doesn't want to overwhelm you. That balance between care and restraint is something only emotionally mature love can hold. Don't dismiss the woman who checks on you quietly. She's not nagging. She's not hovering. She's loving you in the only way that feels safe to her, with presence, with attention, with a gentleness so consistent you might mistake it for ordinary. It's not ordinary. It's everything. Sign 3. She gets a little jealous but hides it. This one is misunderstood constantly. People hear jealousy and immediately think toxicity, insecurity, possessiveness. And yes, those things exist. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about something quieter, something she probably doesn't even want to feel. A slight shift in her tone when you mention another woman's name. A pause that lasts half a second too long. A playful comment that carries just a little more weight than she intended. A question that sounds casual but isn't. "Oh, who's she?" said with a smile. Said lightly, but underneath it is a flicker of something real, and she'll hide it fast. She'll course correct almost immediately. She'll laugh it off, change the subject, pretend it didn't land. Because she doesn't want to look insecure. She doesn't want to seem possessive. She doesn't want to give you that kind of power over her emotions. But it already happened, and the reason it happened isn't because she doesn't trust you. It's because she values you. Because the thought of someone else having your attention creates a ripple in her emotional world that she wasn't prepared for. That ripple isn't dysfunction, it's significance. You matter. And when something matters, the idea of losing it activates something primal, something she can't fully control. Women are taught to suppress this feeling. Society tells them that jealousy is weakness, that a confident woman shouldn't care, that showing any territorial emotion is immature. So she swallows it. She buries it under composure. She acts unbothered because that's what she believes strength looks like. But behind that composure is a woman who's quietly asking herself if she's enough. Not because she's broken, but because she loves you enough to fear the answer. And here's the part most men miss entirely. If she didn't care, she wouldn't react at all. There would be no subtle shift, no loaded silence, no carefully worded question. She'd hear another woman's name and feel nothing. The absence of jealousy isn't confidence. Sometimes it's absence of feeling altogether. So when you catch that micro-expression, that tiny flicker before she smooths it over, don't mock it. Don't weaponize it. Don't test it on purpose. Recognize it for what it is. A woman who cares more than she's willing to say. A woman whose emotions just told you the truth her words never will. That flicker is honesty. Handle it gently. Sign 4. She defends you in your absence. This is one of the most powerful signs of love a woman can show, and you'll probably never witness it directly, because it happens when you're not in the room. Someone makes a comment about you. A friend questions your character. A family member criticizes your choices. And she doesn't stay silent. She doesn't laugh along. She doesn't agree just to keep the peace. She corrects them. Calmly, clearly, without aggression, without drama. She simply sets the record straight and moves on. That's not who he is. You don't know the full story. He's a good man, said once, said firmly. And then she changes the subject because she doesn't need to argue. She just needed the truth to be spoken. That kind of loyalty doesn't come from obligation. It comes from something much deeper. It comes from a woman who has already made a private decision about you. A decision that lives in her chest, not in her words. She's chosen you. And when a woman chooses you, she protects what she's chosen. Women don't defend men they feel ambivalent about. They don't spend emotional energy correcting narratives for someone they're unsure of. If she's standing up for you when you're not there, it means your name lives in a sacred place inside her, a place she guards instinctively. Tell me in the comments, have you ever realized too late that she loved you more than she said? I want to hear your story. This sign matters because it reveals something about her character too. A woman who defends you privately is a woman with integrity. She's not performing loyalty for your approval. She's practicing it because it's real. Because she believes in who you are, even when the room doesn't. And that kind of belief is rare. Most people will agree with the crowd. Most people will stay neutral to avoid discomfort. But she chose your side when there was nothing to gain from it. That's not convenience. That's conviction. That's love wearing the quietest armor there is. Loyalty starts silently, long before promises are made, long before labels are given. It starts in the moments you never see, in the rooms you never enter, in the conversations you never hear. And if she's in those rooms speaking your name with respect, you have something most men spend a lifetime searching for. Don't take it lightly. Sign 5. She accepts your flaws. This might be the most emotionally significant sign on this entire list, because acceptance is not passive, it's a decision. A daily, conscious, sometimes difficult decision. And when a woman makes it, she makes it knowing exactly what she's choosing. She sees your flaws, all of them. The impatience, the stubbornness, the way you shut down when you're overwhelmed, the way you avoid certain conversations, the habits you know you should change but haven't, the parts of yourself you're not proud of. She sees all of it, and she stays. Not because she's desperate, not because she has no options, not because she's afraid of being alone, but because she weighed the full picture of who you are and decided that your presence in her life is worth the imperfection. That's not tolerance, that's love. And here's the distinction that matters. A woman who loves you won't constantly try to fix you. She won't use your flaws as ammunition during arguments. She won't hold your weaknesses over your head like leverage. She won't remind you daily of the ways you fall short. Instead, she'll give you room. Room to be human. Room to struggle. Room to grow at your own pace without feeling like her love is conditional on your improvement. That doesn't mean she ignores red flags. It doesn't mean she accepts mistreatment. It means she understands the difference between a man who is flawed and a man who is harmful, and she chose the flawed one. because she recognizes that perfection was never the goal. Connection was. When a woman stops trying to change you, it doesn't mean she gave up. It means she arrived at a place of emotional maturity where she can hold your imperfections without drowning in them. She can love the full version of you, not just the version that shows up on good days. And this kind of acceptance requires enormous emotional strength, because the world teaches women to want more, to optimize, to upgrade, to never settle, and yet here she is, settling into you, not because you're perfect, but because you're hers, and she decided that being yours is enough. Most men don't realize how radical that is, how much internal negotiation she went through to reach that point, how many fears she had to quiet, how many comparisons she had to release. She didn't just accept your flaws, she accepted the risk that comes with loving someone who will never be everything. And she chose to stay anyway. If you have a woman who holds space for your imperfections without punishing you for them, pay attention. That kind of love doesn't come around often. It's not flashy. It doesn't announce itself, but it's the foundation that everything lasting is built on. She chose you as you are. That's not settling. That's devotion. Sign 6. She plans you into her future. This one happens so naturally that you might not even catch it, but once you start noticing, you won't be able to unsee it. She mentions a restaurant she wants to try. With you, she talks about a trip next summer. With you, she imagines holidays. With you, she talks about moving, about goals, about milestones. And somehow, without ever making a formal announcement, you're woven into every single one. She doesn't say, "I see a future with you." She just builds one, quietly, instinctively. Like you've already been integrated into the architecture of her life without either of you signing a contract. This is subconscious integration, and it's one of the most telling signs a woman can give. Because women don't include men in their future planning unless those men feel permanent, unless something inside her has already decided that you belong there, not in a possessive way, not in a controlling way, but in a way that feels as natural as breathing. You're just there, in the picture, in the plan, in the vision, and she does this before she's fully conscious of it, before she's ready to say the words, before she's analyzed the relationship or made any grand declarations. Her emotional brain has already placed you in her tomorrow, and her language starts reflecting it without her permission. Listen to how she talks about the future. Does she say I, or does she say we? Does she make plans that automatically assume your presence? Does she reference time periods that extend far beyond next week? If the answer is yes, she's already made a decision about you, a decision that lives deeper than logic, deeper than reason, deeper than any conversation you've had about where things are going. She's not testing you. She's not hinting for a commitment talk. She's simply living in the reality her heart has already built, one where you exist beside her, long-term, unquestioned. And the beauty of this sign is that it can't be faked. A woman can say she loves you and not mean it. She can perform affection. She can mimic devotion, but she cannot fake subconscious integration. She cannot force her brain to include someone in future planning unless that person genuinely occupies emotional real estate inside her. So if she's casually mentioning next Christmas, or wondering what your kids would look like, or talking about places she wants to live someday and your name keeps showing up in those sentences, understand what's happening. She's not daydreaming, she's decided. And she decided a long time before she ever said a word. Sign 7. She feels safe being soft around you. This sign is sacred, and I don't use that word lightly, because for most women, softness is a risk. A calculated, terrifying, deeply vulnerable risk. The world teaches women to be strong, to guard themselves, to build walls so high that no one can climb over without proving they deserve to be on the other side. And most women listen. They armor up. They control their emotions. They perform independence like it's a shield, because history taught them that being soft gets you hurt, that openness gets exploited, that vulnerability is just another word for target. So when a woman lets that armor down around you, when she becomes soft in your presence, understand what she's actually doing. She's handing you something precious, something she doesn't give freely, something that cost her years of self-protection to build and seconds of trust to release. Her body language changes, her shoulders drop, her voice softens. She laughs without filtering it. She cries without apologizing. She shares the messy, unpolished version of herself that she hides from the rest of the world. That's not weakness. That's the highest form of trust a woman can offer. And it happens because her nervous system has decided you're safe, not because you told her you were, not because you promised, but because your consistent behavior over time communicated something her body believed. You won't use this against me. You won't punish me for being human. You won't leave because I'm not perfect. When a woman feels safe enough to be soft, her entire emotional system shifts. The hypervigilance quiets. The overthinking slows. The need to perform dissolves. And what's left is her. Just her. Unedited. Unguarded. Present. If she's reached that place with you, you've done something right, something most men never accomplish. You didn't just earn her love. You earned her peace. And for a woman who has spent her life protecting herself, peace is the ultimate offering. Security equals love growing. Not the loud kind, not the desperate kind, the kind that takes root slowly, the kind that builds without noise, the kind that lasts because it was never rushed. She's soft around you because she chose to stop fighting. Not the world, but the fear inside her that said it wasn't safe to love fully. She chose you over that fear. That's everything.
Sign 8. She stays even after disagreements. This is the sign that separates deep love from surface-level affection. And most men don't recognize its power until it's gone. She doesn't disappear after a fight. She doesn't give you the silent treatment for days. She doesn't threaten to leave every time emotions run high. She doesn't use conflict as an exit strategy. She stays. Not because the fight didn't hurt, not because she wasn't angry or frustrated or disappointed, but because somewhere inside her, the decision to be with you is bigger than any single argument, bigger than the discomfort, bigger than her ego, bigger than the temptation to walk away and protect herself from the mess of it all. And that staying is not passive. It's not inertia. It's not fear of being alone disguised as commitment. It's a conscious, active, sometimes painful choice to show up again the next morning, to try again, to repair what was broken instead of replacing it. Most people don't understand how much strength that requires, because leaving is easy. Leaving feels powerful. Leaving gives you the illusion of control. But staying after conflict, real staying, where you sit in the discomfort and work through it, that requires a kind of emotional courage that most people never develop. When a woman stays after disagreements, she's telling you something profound without words. She's telling you that her love is not conditional on comfort, that she can hold frustration and devotion in the same hand, that her commitment isn't a fair weather promise. She's telling you she's chosen you, not the idea of you, not the best version of you, the real, difficult, sometimes infuriating version of you. And she's decided that even at your worst, the relationship is worth fighting for. Consistency after conflict is stronger than affection in good times. Anyone can love you when things are easy. Anyone can be present when the sun is shining and the laughter is flowing and everything feels perfect. But the woman who sits across from you the morning after a hard conversation, eyes a little tired, heart a little heavy, still choosing to be there, that woman loves you in a way most people never experience. And she doesn't do it for recognition. She does it because her love has roots, deep ones, the kind that don't pull up easily, the kind that hold even when the storm is loud and the ground shakes. If she stays, she loves you. Period. That's the truth most men overlook because they're measuring love by words instead of actions, by grand gestures instead of quiet returns, by what she says in the good moments instead of what she does in the hard ones. Don't take that staying for granted. It's the most honest thing she'll ever give you. The emotional reframe. Now let me ask you something. After hearing all of this, Are you starting to recognize someone? Because love isn't always dramatic gestures. It's not always poetry and roses and breathless confessions. Sometimes love is the most ordinary looking thing in the room, so ordinary you walk right past it. Sometimes love is consistency, showing up the same way day after day without being asked, without applause, without acknowledgement. Sometimes love is presence, not grand, not performative, just there, beside you, quietly, the way light fills a room without announcing itself. Sometimes love is staying, after the argument, after the disappointment, after the silence that makes you wonder if everything is falling apart. She stays, she returns, she rebuilds. And if she shows up quietly, if she listens deeply, if she stays steady when everything in her wants to run, you may already have more than you think. That's the part that haunts me. How many men are sitting next to love right now and don't see it? How many men are searching for something louder when the quietest woman in their life is offering them everything? How many men will read this list and realize, with a slow ache in their chest, that she was the one, and they missed it? Don't be that man. Open your eyes, not wider, deeper. See her, not the version you wish she was, the version she already is. The version that remembers your coffee order and checks if you got home safe and defends your name in rooms you'll never enter. The version that accepts your flaws and builds you into her future and lets herself be soft because she trusts you that much. That version is love. Real, undecorated, imperfect, steady love. The kind that doesn't expire. The kind that doesn't perform. The kind that simply exists because she chose it, chose you, chose to stay. The identity close. Men often look for loud reassurance. They want to hear the words. They want the confirmation. They want love to announce itself like a headline so they can finally relax and believe it's real. But real love is rarely loud. It's calm, like a deep breath after a long day. It's steady, like a heartbeat you stop noticing because it never skips. It's patient, like someone who's willing to wait for you to see what they've been showing you all along. And if she's quietly consistent, if she's been standing beside you without fanfare, without ultimatums, without demanding that you notice, don't ignore it, because one day she might stop, not out of spite, not out of anger, but out of exhaustion, out of the slow, quiet heartbreak that comes from loving someone who never learned to see what was right in front of them. Don't wait for that day. See her now. Appreciate her now. Tell her now. Not with grand gestures, with presence, with attention, with the same quiet consistency she's been giving you all along. That's how you match a love like hers. Not by being louder, by being just as steady. And if you're watching this and realizing that you had someone like this and you let her go, let that feeling teach you something. Let it make you more aware next time. Let it sharpen your eyes so that when love shows up again, quiet and steady and unannounced, you'll recognize it before it slips away. Subscribe to this channel, not because I asked, but because understanding this changes how you see everything. Every relationship, every connection, every woman who ever loved you without needing you to know. When things finally start making sense, when patterns become clear, come back to Lies Unmasked and tell me thank you. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.